These are wild strawberry plants that I picked from the North Carolina mountains. And the big question is, will they grow in Central Florida through the winter months? This is my nursery area where I'm going to be growing strawberries, both wild and domesticated, throughout the winter months. And so this is quite a big experiment for me. I don't know how it's going to turn out. And that's what this video is all about. Where I got them from, where they're going, and how I'm preparing the nursery for these new plants.
All I have needs, I have not provided.
The backstory to getting these plants, well, we went on vacation to the North Carolina mountains. And I was hiking up some rather strenuous trails, and I was thinking it would be so cool to find some wild strawberry plants. I'd never seen them. Why that idea came across my mind, I don't know. But after another 30 minutes of some strenuous hiking, I came across some wild strawberry plants. So I took them home, wrapped them in a grocery bag, put them in the crisper drawer of the refrigerator, and I kept them cool all the way home. I couldn't get to them right away, and so I transferred them to a Debbie Meyer bag, dampened them just a little bit, and I put them back in the refrigerator. And now it's been about 10 days. I'm actually quite surprised that they're still green. And these are cleaned up a little bit. They're ready to plant. But first, I have to get this soil ready. So I want to show you the mixture of fertilizer that I've put together first. The first thing I want to do is remove about the first top 2 inches of soil, and I'm going to mix it right there in the wheelbarrow with the soil that's pretty heavily fertilized. That way I'm going to ensure that it's not going to get too much fertilizer, but I have a place for these leaves here to go, and this is sweet potato vines, and the leaves are really good for the soil. I'm not going to bury the stems because the stems will root and grow more sweet potatoes. So only leaves. I really don't know why, but sweet potato vines make really good fertilizer. When you look at the nutritional content, it doesn't look like there's a lot there, but it just enhances the soil. So it's not a lot, but I figure why let them go to waste? I'm just going to put them underneath that soil. And now it's time to mix the soil that had all that fertilizer in it in with this topsoil and replace the soil back into the barrels. Now I've mixed all that real heavily fertilized soil in with the topsoil, and I'm replacing the soil that I took off of the barrels. And honestly, you can skip this step. I just have had really good results with using sweet potato vines and leaves as fertilizer. And so that's why I chose to do it this way. As long as you have good, rich soil to plant your strawberry plants in, you should be just fine. But I wasn't sure about how fertile this soil was. It did great in growing sweet potato vines, but strawberries are a pretty heavy feeder. And I just wanted to give them the best boost I could without burning them with too much fertilizer. The next thing I'm going to do is add a little biofungicide right into the barrels, and I'm going to mix it in my watering can. Now I am going to be watering it all in when I'm done. So, you know, oh, that's made a mess. It's kind of old, but it will still work. What biofungicide does is just gives the plants a little bit of added ability to fight off any kind of diseases, and it makes them a stronger plant. I've used this for the water I water in seeds with, and it works really good. You can also spray your plants with a mixture of this just to give them a boost. To me, it's the equivalent of taking acidophilus. It just gives them a little bit of a boost, and it does go systemic. You can probably hear our air handler working right now, and that is the exact reason why I have my nursery on the south end of our home next to the air handler. The air handler runs a little bit of heat, and it keeps this area warm. So I know this is a safe place throughout the winter months. I do plan on planting not only the wild strawberries in here, and I'm going to plant those very thickly because they grow thick in the wild. And then whatever's left, I'm going to be putting the other varieties that are bred for Florida right here in these barrels, and probably in a lot of other flower pots that I've got laying around. They'll all be full. Now just remember, these are wild strawberry plants. They're not very big. I am hoping they'll make it because, well, first of all, they're wild, but they grow in a cooler climate. And that's what we're headed into right now. It's the end of September, and October is actually when the strawberry growers around here are actually planting the domesticated. I don't even know what to call it. Y'all comment on this in the comments so that I can correct my grammar. Anyway, and my definitions. If you can see this, you plant it right to that point right there. You cannot plant it up here, or you're going to suffocate this part of the plant. But if you plant it too shallow, then it's going to dry out and it will die. So you've got to get it just right there. Just part the dirt, press it in. You can see where there's some new growth coming in here. So we don't want to cover that up. You only want to bury the roots right there. And this one's actually rooted around a pebble. Won't hurt to plant that right along with it. I'm going to bring you up a little closer so that you can see exactly what I'm doing here. Okay, so you can see the crown. Actually, that probably needs to come up just a little bit. You have to adjust it a little bit. You can. They won't object if you have to pull them a little bit up out. This one, I see some roots here, but I don't want to bury the crown. So it's really important to get it right at that level. You have to be pretty precise with strawberry plants, which is kind of funny because they grow by themselves out in the wild, but when you're planting them, I guess human error gets in the way. And this right here is where I'm putting all the really small plants to replace any of these that don't make it. Now you know the drill. We got to water it in. There's one more thing to do, but before I share that, I just want to say thank you for watching. You made it all the way to the end of the video. And please visit my Etsy shops, Debbie's Garden Gifts and Debbie's Christian Gifts. I'll leave the link below. Now the last thing you need to do is water them every day until you see some new growth. Don't let them dry out. You may even have to mist them a couple of times a day, just depending on your soil and the heat. Once they are established, you can cut back on the watering, but do check them every day. Thanks for watching.
Great.